for about a year now, and we haven't seen him since. Since like back in, I say, October 13th, I think. So, speaking of Mike Sauce and P. Jennings saw that we might do report on Aussie Ferry, and we haven't seen him since. So, regarding of the arrested votes, scanning quote. So, Anya Joe reports a slight update on Aussie Ferry to was it Permanently the song set of forces. Audtin Ferry is reportedly still was a factor into of those creative plans the following set of forces. And speaking of Dave Mossel to report in the October 13th on Wrestling Assault newsletter, he said, "I think that Audtin Ferry has slight plans to team with Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker and Boston Reed and Brock Lesnar into a men's War Games match at a Saturday series on Thursday." And speaking of with the votes, Anya Brink reported that there are forces in WWE to keep Austin Ferry involved in his collective slight plans. Anya just deposited an entry by Seth Rollins to assert at Crown Jewel. Speaking of with the vote, agent of sources told to indicate that there are still forces within the company posing to keep Austin Ferry to involve in his collective plans. So it wasn't even added a recent to the sudden caused by Seth Rollins' injury, and it said ideal. Agent of Austin Ferry is showing Supposit was at last to discuss, and he still has wasn't an announcement support moving forward to repair on TV and its educate agent of Dave most to address. So last agent of recording Austin Ferry in Friday against of the newsletter. There was nothing that Austin Ferry showing that forces may have lead to CM Punk. So CM Punk and Roman Reigns and nothing he mentioned there had been any talk of Austin Ferry his debuting for the forces on the October 13th Raw. So Austin Ferry if Parliament will have in some adding from lead to Roman Reigns and CM Punk coming together on the same until against the forces in War Games since. Roman Reigns was being at Command Zone by Boston Reed with help from Braun Breaker and Jake Muscle vote. So Austin Ferry hasn't wrestled since back in July 14th tapings of a main event. Anyway, he lost to it and Andre a cameo. So taking on Twill. So Agent sources told to indicate and this is all still forces within the company to posing to keep Austin Ferry involved in this collective plans with even agents of recent Alyssa's sewing and cuts by Seth Barnes and Suri. Anya said idea of Austin Ferry is sewing. Seth Fawcett was at last to discuss Anya and he still his analysis support moving forward to Rebel on TV and its escape model. So Austin Ferry wants to sewing. So Boston Reed and Bomb Breaker on set of forces to posting to Austin Ferry. So we haven't seen Austin Ferry almost back in July. After a weather votes is told because we haven't seen Austin Ferry in about a year since back in July. After being told to take morsel to explain after he ignored that Austin Ferry might be posting to with a group with Paul Heyman guys like Boston Reed, Bomb Breaker, and you might post Austin Ferry to the group. I think, but he might. So when I do hold your mouse on that Austin Ferry might be sewing to a group with Paul Baker and Boston Reed with Paul Heyman guys. So let us know what you guys on my that if Austin Ferry could sign to a group by Paul Baker and Boston Reed. So let us know of your thoughts in the comments below. So I just to explain when Austin Ferry might start a group with Braun Breaker and Boston Reed, and they might to involve him to posting with Boston's top star like such like Austin Ferry. So after we're going Austin Ferry, and we haven't seen him since like back in July. I think, and we haven't seen him since. So who might be replaced by Seth Rollins has a Leo, and we have Josh Navarro. It takes, maybe he might take his place. So do you think Austin Ferry might be to replace Seth Rollins? Might be inside the group. So Braun Breaker and Boston Reed and Braun Breaker in his taking place by Austin Ferry. So, and your brain said, so realize your video and don't forget to like and subscribe in this video. And also your favorite mic song the forces the group jacket replacement by Seth Rollins Leo. And by this time, peace.